We have no idea what's getting ready to happen. We just had the most amazing season I could ever imagine. Something that I will never forget for the rest of my life. Wow. So hang on. I got a lot to say, man. This was just one of the most incredible events in my life. Very grateful for what we have to offer and how the season played out. I had no idea we had that much sight fishing, that much clear water, that many big fish, fish over 20 pounds.
Here we go, we got a pig on the line.
All right. My rod, I broke my rod, and I still got fish on.
And you look.
It looks big, man. It looks really big.
20 pounds.
Oh.
Hey, Robbie, thanks, man.
Nice.
What have you done?
17 pounds on the popper.
Hey, he's in the net.
Oh, my God.
Ah, good. Very good.
No words.
It had been almost 5 years since we got to see the piece of river that we fished this year. I can't wait to go back. I was there for 6 weeks in the jungle, and I already want to get on a plane and go back. So who is Rob Anderson? What is bucket list fly fishing? And what separates us from everybody else? You know, if you don't know the history of bucket list fly fishing and you know, where we are today, 2016, I got a wild idea that owning a fishing business in another country is how I wanted to spend my money. It was a struggle, you know, financially and mentally, emotionally, for a couple years. It was tough. And then I finally met my current partner in 2018, Natan Geddes of NG Turismo, who is known as, you know, the top outfitter in Brazil for the sport fishing world. So 2019, we had our first season on the Suriname River in Rio Novo. And, you know, with aspirations of this thing growing fast, bringing more clients, you know, we had a game plan and we were ready. And then high water, then COVID, and then more high water. And luckily we have another river that fishes better, you know, in January when the water's higher. So we were able to have our seasons, just not on the Suriname.
But like it's been said before, they're so different, the camps, you cannot go wrong with either one.
The past 4 years, your backup plan from the other people that are here, the backup plan is also exceptional, but in a completely different way. So you can't beat that.
And finally, you know, 2024, the season was setting up, the water was low, and we knew we were going back. And the expectation for us, our booking agents, you know, people who had fished with us the last couple of years in another river were all, you know, chomping at the bit to see what this river had to offer. And I think everybody was blown away.
Your mind is gonna melt. Melt.
I knew you guys were.
pretty much can't beat it.
I could give this A++++.
With bucket list fly fishing, Rob Anderson and my man Kareem the Dream.
Our hosted trips this year, which filled out almost our entire calendar, from our famous person week with NBA Hall of Famer Rick Barry and San Jose Flycasters, the largest fly club in California, the Chico Fly Fishers, Fishtails Fly Shop out of Canada, Mossy Creek Fly Shop out of Virginia had a group, and Steve Barry from Destinations Fly Fishing. These people are my friends. You know, a lot of them I go way back with. And so, you know, when they show up to our camp, it's more than just a business transaction. These are people that I know, people that I love. This was it. This was the year that we were going to get to show off what we've been working on for 5 years.
So you're in next year?
Absolutely.
And the year after?
Till I die.
I've been doing Peacock Bass trips since 2002, 22 years. In trying to build my own company, the first thing was, where do we want to do this? Okay, so what does this need to look like? I want a river that we can have an exclusive on. I want things that fly fishermen like, clear water, sight fishing. And so those things we found in the Suriname River. Then we had to go and get, you know, the documentation and the licensing to, you know, turn this area into a preserve, basically. So after we got our location in our river, then it was, okay, what do we want the operation to look like? Training our guides to be fly fishing guides, our cooks to be chefs. So now we have to worry about logistics because we have this river. But not only do we have this 200-mile long river, but we want to be at the headwaters where the fish are. So the only way we could come up with a way to fish the areas that we want to fish were with our whole camp floats. So all of our cabins, our angler cabins, our dining cabin, the entire thing floats in less than 6 inches of water. Without the logistics, none of this would be possible. We would not be able to get within 100 miles of these fish any other way. So, you know, in 2018, when I sat down with my partner Natan and Kareem and our camp manager Pilato, and you know, and they just asked me, Rob, what do you want to do? What is your vision? I think when I started talking to them about all the things that I wanted to change and see different, they thought I was nuts. You know, as I'm going through the list of things that I wanted to see change and things I wanted to do to make this, you know, a trip I wanted to go on, you know, jaws were hanging low and eyes were really big, like, oh my God, this guy's crazy. Really, the things that we put on a piece of paper 5 years ago that we wanted to have happen all came into play this year. And, you know, now we have a camp as far into the middle of the Amazon jungle as you can go, yet we have 5-star accommodations, we have 12-inch mattresses, air conditioning, running water, incredible food, trained guides that all live in the area, on the river, you know this area like the back of their hand. And pretty much everything that we wrote down on a piece of paper 5 years ago and wanted to have in play for our operation, this year it all happened.
Yeah, baby, that's what I'm talking about.
So 2024 going into this season, you know, the word on the street was that the Amazon was going through record low water. The stress level was really high as to what the conditions were going to be. So for this trip, I came up with something pretty special so that we could actually go see a part of the river that we still had never seen, that was becoming more difficult every day with the low water. because we couldn't go anywhere. The camps were basically stuck because of low water, and the headwaters of the river was somewhere in the 6 hours in a boat upstream from where we were. So we actually put together a small camping trip and took 3 of our fishing boats, and 9 of us went upstream and pitched hammocks in the jungle under a tarp, stayed a night, and fished the very upper headwaters area of the Shawnee River for basically more than half days, and 400 fish later, and 40 fish over 10 pounds, and 4 or 5 over 20 pounds. Just amazing. It ended up being something we did for the rest of the season until we left. What an incredible experience for somebody who is already out of their comfort zone, going and spending a week in the Amazon jungle. And now this crazy man, Rob Anderson, has asked them to get in a boat and go upstream 4 hours and sleep in a hammock in the jungle. Everybody was like, oh my God, we are in the middle of the Amazon jungle with no communication, no radio, no phone, no nothing. And the funny questions start happening. So Rob, where's the closest road to here? So I start thinking about it in my head, and it's like, well, on a straight line, it's due east, probably 100 miles. Rob, where are the closest people to us? Well, that would be the village and our guides that are with us on this trip where they live. That's probably 200 miles downstream. Hey Rob, where's the closest this? Rob, how many jaguars are here?
Those are jaguar tracks.
Just all these questions and reality type questions of, I've just taken 5 people from the United States who have normal jobs, construction, lawyers, whatever, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, and they are sitting in a hammock in the dark in the Amazon jungle.
That's why they call me Big Papa.
Yes.
18.
Pounds.
Woo!
Good
Boy.
job. That's the biggest one I ever caught.
That's why people go to Brazil, because these fish get up and over 20 pounds. The Shawnee River in Rio Novo, not only does it have a Sioux 3-bar cichlid tamensis peacock bass over 20 pounds, it also has world record butterfly and Orinoco peacock bass. These fish keep you busy. They school up. You can catch 20 or 30 of them in a row if you find them. And the average size is usually 1 to 3 pounds. If you get a 4 or 5 pounder, you hold it up and you talk about it. Hey, check this fish out, it's huge. We have these butterfly peacock bass in the 4 pound, 6 pound, 8 pound, 10, 12 pound fish. And when you can take a 50 to 100 fish day and go from 90% of those fish being a pound to 3 pounds to 90% of those fish being a pound to 8 pounds, it changes things. And those fish fight crazy, man. They fight as hard or harder than the Sioux do. And the fact that they school up makes for situations where you can put a couple, 2, 3, 8 to 12 pound peacock bass on the line at one time. Double, triples, and it was just a shocking eye opener to the fact that the average size fish this season, wasn't 1 to 3 pounds. It was 5 or 6 pounds. And we caught a ton of just quality fish, one after the other. Type A, pedal to the metal fishing that happens in the Amazon. When these fish get lit up, they're trying to eat the fly out of the other fish's mouth. They're going crazy. They're following your fly right up to your feet on the sandbar. One of the boats in the afternoon caught 236 peacock bass from 12:30 in the afternoon until 5:30 in the afternoon. 5 hours, they caught 236 fish, and almost half of them on poppers. And when we get into these schooly type situations where we catch 10, 20 fish, really quick, team fishing is really important. And the first guy gets a fish on, and you look, and especially in this really clear water, you see 10 more fish behind it. And sometimes there's a giant behind it.
Fishing was crazy good. I mean, I've never seen so many big bass. We probably caught 8 fish over 10 pounds and some that were like over 15. So it was a good, really good, crazy good.
Eldon was one of the most amazed people that we had in our camp at just what happened. We put a large number of fish in the net in a 5-minute time frame. And there was one little pocket in the river where the water was dark and you couldn't see. And so we moved the boat back down out of the river, and I made a cast into this little hole and hooked a fish. And it's a nice fish. And I look down and the boat's only sitting in about a foot of water. So we get out and we're standing on a sandbar now, casting into this hole. And so Eldon casts in and he hooks about a 5 or 6 pound butterfly, and there's a giant behind it. And I've done this a million times. So I cast right over top of Eldon's line, strip my fly right back into where Eldon's got his fish on, and this giant fish eats my fly. And Eldon looks at me like, what are you doing? For about the next 15 minutes, Eldon and I went back and forth, and our guide has this huge round net and basically just holding it in the water while Eldon and I are just sliding fish one after the other into this net for a beautiful photo. And 5 minutes later, we look down and we've got 6 fish in the net over 10 pounds. 5 of them are butterfly peacock bass that are 10 and 11 pounds, and 1 a Sioux that's like 15 pounds. Jim and I hit it off from the second that we met 5 years ago. So Jim is always telling me, I want to bring my son. I want to bring my son. I want to get Drew down here, which, Drew grew up with my little brother. And so anyway, this year it happened. And Jim put this trip together.
Come here.
Yes. And then there's this lagoon across from where we were camping that the guides were all, salivating over. And it doesn't take long and Drew's hooked up.
Drew hooks up. Rob jumps in the water with his phone, runs out there, starts filming it. I jump in the water with the camera.
And we're walking around the lagoon, waiting around, filming Drew. He's got this big fish on. We have no idea what's getting ready to happen.
Ford, how much fun you're having.
Oh my God.
So finally, Drew gets this fish in the net and we weigh it.
And he lands a 21 pounder. Dude.
And in my 22 years in the Amazon, I have seen 2 fish over 20 pounds. He's with his dad. He's in the jungle. He's gone on the biggest fishing trip of his life, and he's just put this giant fish in the net. And the kid was speechless. And it made me realize right then that this is just way more than a fishing trip. It's a life adventure.
And that is what got me here.
One of them being
To be able to experience the things that I will think about on my deathbed.
When we put this thing on paper 5 years ago and designed the program the way it looks today, I wanted to create a once-in-a-lifetime fishing trip that people would want to do every year. I know that sounds crazy, but that's what we're offering today.